With this victory, it does knock Guest out of the tournament. However, they still will have to play a second game to see if we're going to go to tiebreaker or not. If DMG is able to get the second win, we will.
Yeah.
If not, then we'd not.
And based off of what we saw, we were talking about it a little bit during the game. Guests, they looked like they had high morale at the beginning, but the second things started going wrong, it was a landslide. And we expect that a lot of the times. They know that they have to win 2 in a row. And so they play really well up until the point, but once it starts going wrong, they're like, oh, I guess we just can't do it. And after winning this first game, I would not expect them to come back. Maybe they can pull out some miracle victory, but it's not really going to matter for them, as you said before. It's really just about, you know, denying a tiebreaker, essentially, and giving ETW the first place instead of DMG.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think we're going to see, like, troll picks or anything like that. I just don't think we're going to see the best play ever from Guest going to the next games.
Yeah. I think they're still going to play a game of Vainglory. They're still on stage in front of tons of people. I guarantee you there are so many people watching this in China. I'd say probably over 100,000. Like, not even exaggerating. If it's #1 on the App Store, for sure, with this big of an event, would not be surprised. So yeah, these guys, you know, they've still got their pride. They're not going to play badly, for sure, but I don't think they're going to play their 100%
They just
best
don't have
game.
that motivation that they would have otherwise to play perfectly well. Which is sad, but it's just how it is, unfortunately. They had a good run, just not as good as ETW.
Yeah, ETW tying that one, getting that one win against DMG really messed it up for them. I think they would have been in a tiebreaker potentially against ETW if ETW did not win that one.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So they would have had the potential to win, you know, just one game and go on. Well, actually, now that I think about it, they had the head-to-head tiebreaker, so they actually would not have been because they lost 2-0 to ETW. So
you're getting too deep on me, Brennan.
Yeah. We're going down to the 3rd level of Inception right now.
I'm gonna let you like make the satisfied statement. So I'm just like, yeah, probably, yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. This was the forced fight that I was talking about, where Celeste is in the back, not really doing much damage for Guest. Koshka gets taken out there, all alone, isolated, and from there it was a total landslide. That was their one fight where they knew they had an advantage, and it went all wrong. And that's when it was just like, oh, I guess we're screwed.
Well, that was a super one-sided game there overall, especially towards the later start of things. I want to say, like, I want to do my commentator push the button that, like, I just like say, like, well, let's see what happens in game 2 though. Nobody knows.
Push the soundboard, like, ding.
Yeah. I'm like, who knows? I mean, it could happen. We might not go to tiebreakers, but I foresee that we will see another, you know, just. It's not the Guest is playing badly, right? It's just that DMG is outclassing them.
They're playing against potentially the team that will come to the VIPL, right? I mean, this team has fantastic play. We've seen it down to the very minuscule details so far in these games. They dropped one game to ETW. Doesn't mean that ETW is going to come out and take first. I think DMG is a lot more experienced, and you know, Guests shouldn't feel all that bad about playing with DMG for 10 minutes even.
Yeah.
They did at least that. That's a hard feat to do.
No, you're absolutely right, and I feel like let's cut to the chase here. The draft is ready, faster than I expected. Ban on Sky and a ban on Rona. Let's see what Guest wants to draft. I bring in Scarf, Arden, and Catherine versus Fortress, Arden, and Celeste. So
they're switching it up here.
Yeah, we just see that Fortress pick here again.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting because DMG, they want to force the tiebreaker. They need to force the tiebreaker in order to have a chance at first place. Otherwise, they will be forced into second place, of course, because ETW will have the advantage at 7 points. So DMG still have a lot on the line. This Fortress pick is not like any kind of trolling thing or anything.
No, they used it already earlier, so.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious about Guest's composition. We are going to see the Jungle Arden. With the Scarf, which is going to be Little Entity's first time not playing Celeste.
That's true. Let's see how it goes, because Godfather is incredible on Celeste. As you can see, he's already starting to hit those heliogenesis. So, a little bit of a fight here at the shop. Fortress, obviously, really, really strong early game hero in these fights just because of the burn damage, also the speed that he gets granted. But he's definitely not going to get the head into this one.
Yeah, I still think, after all, not stronger than Catherine Arden this early on in the game, as we do see them poked out here, and it looks like MX
Scarf is
go
coming
down
as well, yeah.
Oh, there we go. So Guest's gonna lead off here with a kill, and Scarf can just go back to lane and pick up this wave, and he'll be ahead.
And he has to hit every single one of these minions, though. Otherwise, like, it might have been not worth it for him to lose that much in lane. But I think he will. Let's watch him and judge him.
Oh, you missed that big one. Oh, you missed that little one too. Uh-oh.
It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. He's not making any more mistakes after that, so it's fine.
Yeah, that'll be his last mistake in the tournament for sure.
Yeah.
Another little skirmish going down here, and we do have Catherine going down.
Yeah, it looks like AAA Anthony is going to go down as well. And that's going to put them at a 2-1 score.
Yeah. And again, I think a better team wouldn't have gone that far. You know, they get the advantage in the jungle, and you can get a lot out of that. You know, Scarf doesn't necessarily have to have the perfect farm in the lane. If your jungle brothers are doing work in the jungle, you know, take a couple of camps. You're not going to take all of them at a minute 30 in the game, you know. But I think we've seen this before out of some of the newer teams here. They just pushed a little bit too far. They're like, oh, we actually took a fight against DMG. Let's take their entire jungle and then gank Celeste or something like that. But it's just not going to happen this early on.
Yeah. You see, they're moving down now towards the shop here. They have another one of these skirmishes. They're revealed, though. The first hits go to DMG. Very close fight, actually, in fact. It looks like AAA Anthony has taken the worst end of it, though. Here comes Scarf to try to help out, and Dead Doll does escape. But it's a 3v2. And Celeste, even with Godfather dropping that damage off, isn't going to be able to get any kills. Just going to disperse the fight as they disengage.
Yeah. Seems like DMG not really learning that it's very hard to take those fights, especially when Arden and Catherine bunch up right on each other, because you don't want to be attacking Catherine, obviously, with the shield, with the Storm Guard. You want to be attacking Arden instead. But if you bunch up there, it makes it much harder to click it with your big, meaty fingers, and, you know, sometimes you're attacking Catherine, so it's very hard to fight against these two tanky guys this early on in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, you note that AAA Anthony and Arden has double light armor, so it makes it that much harder.
Arden also, well, both of these, Arden has a very big footprint, so he, you know, you click on him a lot by mistake anyways, but with both these heroes together, anything could happen. You might misclick once or twice. So we hit 4 minutes. Mining has begun. And we just see DMG actually pushing down the mid lane. Oh, they want to go for a kill here, and they are going to get little Andy, it looks like. He was a bit too far forward, no vision, and it comes back to bite him.
Yeah, there you go. And there, oh man, Catherine kind of getting caught out here. Does have that Storm Guard up, but just way too much damage coming down. And that's going to be 2 kills and potentially a gold mine here. They had a good push going on the turret, but deciding to pick up the sure kill instead. Looks like they're just going to send their jungle guys back to the jungle. Actually, they're taking the gold mine. So there you go. Godfather's just going to take the lane.
Yeah. Taking a lot of damage, but is going to be fine. After clearing 1 more minion, is going to back home and rejoin the lane.
Sometimes in your mind you see an Arden there and you're like, oh, you know, it's Rome Arden. But then he, you know, blood for blood you and you take a huge amount of damage. You're like, oh, that's jungle Arden. Yeah. So, either way, Scarf gonna get a pretty decent push here. Maybe be able to join his jungle friends, but actually they're just back farming, so just gonna push up. Maybe he could buy a bit. There's not much gold. So just gonna be safe there in the lane.
Yeah. Godfather's getting so much farm right now. Oh, look at the count. 51 to 41.
No, to 30 on Scarf.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong count.
Yeah. So definitely having that advantage. It's the Godfather advantage, you know?
Godfather advantage. He's just not going to leave lane, though. He's always going to have that push. He's always going to be pushing on the turret.
He always joins the fight later within the jungle because he trusts his
he
jungle
relies
players.
on his teammates so well.
Yeah.
There's so much, and they don't let him down.
And his last hitting is quite fantastic as well. I mean, Celeste is pretty easy in terms of last hitting. You know, there's definitely harder heroes to last hit with, but he makes sure that he gets the majority of them, regardless.
He also gets level 6 faster this way, so he has the faster ult, which, you know, in this game in itself hasn't really come into play. As you can see, Scarf just got his, Arden already has his. But it's just something to keep in mind. It's one of those things that, you know, versus different matchups in different scenarios can actually be really important. And level 6, as any level, the higher level you are, the more your abilities and your hit points and everything scales. So it's important to have that lead.
Looks like DMG posturing up here. Do see the gold mine at about halfway so far, so it would be like a decent gold payout if Guest did want to go for it, but looks like for now just both teams posturing up, trying to possibly catch a member or two. But look at this, I mean, Scarf's going to go down and buy, but all the while Godfather is picking up more and more farm.
Yeah. Just taking a look at everyone's state currently. We do have Arden at level 5 versus level 4 for Catherine. So he's much closer to level 6 to get that gauntlet, which is obviously going to be one of those abilities that can turn the tide of a fight or give you that massive advantage. A force reflex block to be used, for example, when you don't want to use it. Getting a bigger overview.
I am slightly scared for DMG. I mean, I know what kind of team they are, so that gives me some calmness in my mind. But when you think about this composition, if it goes 3-on-3, say in the jungle anywhere, I would have to give the advantage actually to Guest in terms of just like ultimates and abilities. You know, Fortress is going to be doing pretty consistent damage, but locking up a couple members in Gauntlet and then getting the big silence as well as the Scarf ult behind it is going to be deadly.
Well, here comes Gauntlet down for DMG, and already Fortress gets a kill. His ult also just getting so much coverage. He actually gets a double kill, and Celeste will get the triple, which will be an ace. So your fears are allayed as we see this fight take place, and they can actually get a turret off of this easily with the minions pushing.
Yeah, that was a pretty gross one for Guest, I have to say. Scarf participated about 15% of that fight. And, a lot of his members did go down very, very fast. Of course, they are behind already in this game. And very smartly, DMG actually just going to minion candy the weave, as well as that ace buff, take down the turret very fast, get a bunch of objectives and farm with just winning that one fight.
Can they win a second one? Looks like they're just going to disengage instead. Notice that Catherine still isn't level 6, so she still does not have her ultimate, which means that she doesn't have the silence that would have actually been very useful and very helpful in that last fight. So just something else to keep in mind, going back to what I was saying earlier about Arden getting the faster 6.
It's all about those little advantages, as we said before. Just get a couple more camps and you're going to have level 6 and you can force the fight before the enemy team does not have 6.
Yeah.
So just going back to farming, it looked like Guest may have wanted to go for a fight as Catherine did hit 6 and they knew that all the ultimates of DMG were down, but not really finding much, and it looks like they're just going to return to farming in the jungle.
Gold-wise, almost 4,000 ahead. Actually, exactly 4,000 ahead is DMG. And Godfather just continues to push the lane.
I like the choice, by the way, of Guest not to take back the minion mine. They kind of give up the gold mine. They're like, okay, you can have that. We are too far behind to really challenge that, but they're just going to leave Scarf in the lane and just try to farm up as much as possible. Take these back minion camps, just be very passive. But look at this.
Oh, this Gauntlet could get a triple stun. It's actually so good. Catherine, though, tanking a lot of damage here, but already it's a 2v3. Godfather is coming back up to life, as you can see with his health bar with that ace, and they can actually continue to push this. Not a lot of energy for Catherine here. Excuse me, not Catherine, Celeste. But
with the ace, they do get that regen.
Exactly. So like, it just doesn't even matter. They're gonna get this turret down, with the low respawn tires of 10 minutes and 45 seconds, I don't think we get anything else besides that. Maybe get another wave. I do not think they can get this turret. They can continue to siege it, and they can push and poke at it, but they can't commit to it.
Celeste Supernovas right now are hitting for 420. Just want to point that out. As we do have another fight coming out here. Core Collapse going to take down Arden. Scarf getting very low as well.
The Supernovas will blaze you, man. And we are going to see this turret get pushed down here again as a second ace occurs.
Yeah.
And I think this is just like one of those chain reaction aces where you get an ace into an ace into an ace and you just keep pushing.
This is exactly what we were talking about. Guess is just falling apart at this point. They really have nothing underneath them to hold them up and give them any hope in this game. And as we saw before in that fight, I mean, Scarf getting stunned even before the Dragon's Breath got off. It was just an unbelievably bad fight for Guest, and after that one, all morale is lost. That's when, like, people start AFKing in your solo queue game, they start spamming question marks at the other guy, and then that guy gets mad and starts spamming question marks at that guy.
And then the third guy just puts, like, the sad face.
Yeah.
And it's just, like,
Tries to, like, put up, you know, the beer, say, like, hey, cheers, guys, like, let's keep playing. They just AFK and spam question marks. I don't know. Sad times in the solo queue, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's better than people raging by typing. Anyway.
Oh, I love it. I actually love the emoticon system, if you will, or the chat system. I don't know what to call it in Vainglory. It's
Ping system, I suppose.
Ping system, yeah. It's really cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
The best thing ever is when like you
innovative.
You and that other dude like gank somebody and you get the kill and you put the 2 beers like
yeah. Let's go grab a pint after that one. Mate.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Well, the minion mine, or excuse me, I don't know how many times you said this thing. The gold mine is nearing.
Common mistake.
It's nearing its payout place, and that's going to, of course, give like some of the final builds here for DMG to finish things off. As obviously they're massively ahead at this point. And I mean, by massively ahead, I mean like they're more than doubling the gold to 17K, 17.4 to 8.8. And they're stealing all the farm. And Guest can't leave their base. And that.
I do like what Guest is doing, by the way. When you do get this far behind and there's really no hope of taking a team fight, what you do is you kind of turtle in the base.
Yeah.
You take in the waves. The mini mine was taken by DMG, so you're getting a bit extra gold. Really, you're just hoping that the enemy team does not push in on you and buy a bunch of infusions as DMG is doing. Generally, this is the way to end the game. You get far ahead, you buy tons of infusions, and you see even Fortress getting that crystal infusion extra cooldown, and then they go for the big fight.
Oh, here comes that gauntlet, and we are going to see a big ult to follow. Looks like actually it's Godfather that goes down first, though. And Dead Doll is chasing down Andy, so he will fall. And can they actually finish the fight? AAA Anthony is actually going to get a kill. And I don't think he can actually kill both. He can kill Arden, but can he kill Beyond G? I don't know.
He's just out of energy, but that breaking point, man, once you get to a certain point, the lifesteal is huge as well on his A. It's just like unbelievable. We're seeing the reason why Fortress is being picked now as a jungle. As you get into late game, it's just a huge force to be reckoned with. And it's so fast, you're running around the entire fight. I'm actually beginning to like it the more and more I watch.
Yeah. Well, with that win in the fight, or rather with that even trade, they're still ahead because they were ahead before. And they're just waiting to farm up those items. Kraken spawns in about 10 seconds, and a Kraken will just be the win. They're going to get a small gold, tiny gold payout from the gold mine, and then if they can secure the Kraken, it wins them the game. So this is going to be maybe what they try to contest and secure. 89 gold per person.
Tiny gold payout collected. Yeah, they should be able to get this Kraken.
There's nobody contesting on it. Already at this stage of the game with the items and how fed everyone is, Kraken goes down so much faster than it would to say a team like Guest. It would take twice as long, so they can actually do this very quickly. Guest knows too, but what are they going to do about it? They can't really contest it, and if they don't contest it, then they lose anyways because the Kraken is actually going to kill their Vein Crystal. So.
Yeah, look at all the infusions being bought as well. Celeste is going to be hitting like a truck with her auto attack with the weapon infusion as well as her passive coming in, as well as the crystal infusion for that extra crystal power and cooldown reduction. And this is going to be the push to end all pushes, to end all games. Unless Guest can get like the perfect engagement like last time.
Let's see. I mean, if they have like the perfect gauntlet with Scarf and also Catherine getting a good silence, even then they're gonna have trouble killing the Kraken before it kills their Vein Crystal.
Yeah, I think they had to engage a bit earlier. Let's see what they can do. I think they have to engage like right now.
Well, turrets are active on the Kraken. There comes down the gauntlet, but it's not the gauntlet of Guest. Already so much damage being put off here. Down goes Arden, and Catherine will fall as well.
Scarf running into the wall of the gauntlet right after the ult gets off, so no damage, and that's going to be it. DMG is going to take a 2 over Guest, and we will have that tiebreaker.
Yep, so we are gonna have another tiebreaker, and the tournament life of Guest is over. It ends here, so we're gonna have a tiebreaker between these two mammoth, awesome teams. But we're not entirely sure when that's going to happen. There's going to be some sort of break, most likely, so that we can have. I always want to say the name, Easy to Win.
Yeah.
Can get set up and have that tiebreaker. So here are our standings. Easy to Win and DMG are tied at 7 points. Guest with that 2-0 loss will fall down to 3, and IDO falls to 4th with 0 points.
Yeah. The question is, next week, or rather, before
Sunday. Sunday!
This is what happens after casting 6 matches or 12 games of Vainglory. Your brain starts to go out the window. But the question is, who is going to get first place?
Yeah.
Nothing to do with next week.
And who's going to have the better seed is basically, how that works out. We don't know if that'll even be a thing or if that is really going to affect the standings. But, that's basically what we're going to find out. And I believe, as far as I know, it is going to be a best of 1. So 1 game left, a little final game of the night. And before that happens, we're going to take a short break. Not entirely sure how long it's going to be, but pretty short, I would guess. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you when we come back.